let's take a gander at what happened yesterday on the college football market. The big game of the day, without a doubt, is that LSU game hosting Alabama. If there was one team that you thought could do it, maybe it was the Tigers, but it wasn't. It wasn't. You have Coach O walking into the building beating his chest. You have the LSU players on the field. These videos are all over the internet, looking at the environment of the building, just getting hype. But it just wasn't enough. This Alabama team is too talented. Tua with 2 touchdowns thrown, 1 rushing. He did throw his first interception ever, and statistically, this was his worst game, but it was still fantastic at the end of the day. And you have Harris running for over 100 yards. You have Judy catching for over 100, and he just makes people miss. His footwork is clean. He's juking players out of their cleats. He was amazing. But the storyline's this defense, because they held Joe Burrow and that Tigers offense to literally nothing. They couldn't run the ball whatsoever. I mean, seriously, they had no run game at all. At all. They were getting negative yards. And I get it. If you're the Tigers, you got to find a way to get a run game established. Keep pounding. But there was no budge whatsoever from Alabama. And Williams on that line for Alabama, wow. 10 total tackles. 7 for solo tackles. 2.5 sacks. 3.5 tackles for loss. This guy was all over the place. He was getting double teamed. He was moving them around like nothing. That was a dominating performance. It really was. And at times, you're looking at the scoreboard like, oh, it's only 22-0. Oh, it's only 9-0. Oh, it's only 16-0. Maybe there's a chance. Like, when you're LSU's defense, you look at the scoreboard and say, oh, it's only 22-0. Yeah, you can hold Alabama to 22 points, and you should be able to, it's not crazy to think that you can win a game holding Alabama to 22, considering their average is over 50+. But, man, they could not move the football whatsoever, because that Alabama's defense was on a different level last night. And it just proves how much higher up they really are than everybody else. Tua's out there making plays. He keeps, looking at that knee. I don't know how serious of an injury that could be, but I was a little bummed as a fan of neither team, and I just wanted great football. A little bummed, but at the same time, I love dominance, so they are really just proving to everybody, we are no joke. We are legit as hell, and we are way better than you. And they showed it again. The next game on the menu, Michigan dominates Penn State 42-7. James Franklin had no answers. McSorley under 100 yards and an interception. Their other quarterback throws an interception. You have Shea Patterson with 3. I mean, Penn State was just denied with everything. And once they lost a few weeks back earlier in the season against Ohio State, James Franklin went to the media and stated, we're not elite until we beat big teams like this consistently. We're not elite until we're at the top and teams are afraid to play. You're far off from elite. That's what this game shows me. You are way farther off than you think, because it wasn't even close. And you got to praise Michigan, though, because they're trying to fight for this playoff spot. A demanding win like this can definitely help their opportunity. It wasn't even a football game. Michigan won in every aspect and dominated. Moving on, West Virginia and Texas. Whoa. Will Grier throws a 33-yard touchdown pass with 16 seconds left, and then they have the balls to go for 2 for the win and get it. Oh, man, you have Gus Johnson on the call, who is fantastic when it comes to these types of moments. He's so energetic. This is the best call in the world, and he gets it done. I can't believe it. West Virginia, the balls to go for the win on the road in Texas. This is classic. That was a beautiful Big 12 matchup. And the fourth quarter was insane. I mean, you have Texas taking the lead late in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was tied. It was tied with 5 minutes left. With about 2.5 minutes left, Texas taking their lead. And then West Virginia comes right back and answers and responds and then adds 2 to it to get the win. Ballsy move by the coach. I love it. You're on the road. Why settle for the tie? Go for the win. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. He ends up running it in for 2. Amazing game. That's college football. That right there screams college football. and it was amazing. Moving on to Oklahoma, and they're in a grind-out game against Texas Tech. Kyler Murray with 2 interceptions early in this game, which costed them points. They were down at half. Lincoln Riley really upset at halftime. You could see it on the bench. He's freaking out. He gets interviewed by ESPN at halftime. He was a little pissed off at the turnovers. But they continue to fight. They continue to battle, and they beat this Texas team out 51-46. It was a shootout, without a doubt. But Kyler Murray, he responds after a really tough start, and that's the type of things you need to test for these quarterbacks that are elite at that level. How do they respond when things go bad? Well, he responded big time. Morris, their wide receiver, for over 100 yards and a couple touchdowns. Their running back was unstoppable. He had 206 yards and 3 touchdowns. So OU finding a way to kind of beat the adversity that they were facing early and get the win at Texas Tech. Notre Dame squeaked one out against Northwestern. They did. The final score was 31-21, but Northwestern's a scrappy football team. They really do know how to fight, and in the fourth quarter, Northwestern scores 2 touchdowns to cut the 21-7 lead into 24-7. They scored 2 touchdowns, and now it's 24-21. With about 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter is when Ian Book runs for a 23-yard touchdown run to kind of solidify the W for Notre Dame. But the energy was all in Northwestern's hands after they cut that 24-7 lead to 24-21. And they had the mojo. But that 23-yard touchdown run by Ian Book was fantastic. And he also threw 2 touchdowns earlier in that game. So, he was very good. He was very good. Notre Dame squeaks out of Northwestern with a W. And they continue their fight and try to get their spot in the top 4. So, other noticeable games out there. Georgia kind of whooped Kentucky. And on paper, 6-9. Kentucky wanted to prove themselves. It really was in Georgia's hand all night long as they win 34-17. Ohio State played Nebraska, and this game was way too close, 36-31. What's going on with Ohio State after that? After experiencing their first loss of the season, they win, and that's all that matters. But to Nebraska, a 5-point game. Purdue upsets Iowa 38-36, and it ended on a field goal attempt with couple seconds left in the game, so essentially a walk-off field goal. And Florida falls at home to Missouri. Florida's number 11 in the country. They're so fluky to me. They're so fake. I never buy into them. I don't think they really have the talent. ASU upsets Utah, and Auburn defeats number 20 A&M. Crazy day, without a doubt. Crazy day. Let me know what you think down below on the top dogs, the top games of the night, because they were phenomenal. They were. See you guys next time.